take you on.
Yes, I think it's good to get the horses to stretch in the dressage. I'm not sure if it's totally, by practicing that all day long, you'd be jumping brilliantly round a 5-star, because there are some similarities, but there's probably some differences too.
So the third American joining the course there, and Tamie Smith and Baum, who's another brilliant horse on the flat, and really neat and economic through the quarry.
These are what I call the Protoni flower boxes, because they have that tapering profile, and I think Giuseppe put them on a course at maybe 1997, and Protoni, every time they've been used, sometimes they really need a very positive ground line, don't they? That's Lily Hurd, unfortunately, having the fall and eliminated down there.
But what was interesting for me watching Lillian is we were talking about Philip Dutton being upright and a longer rein. Lillian was a little bit climbing up the reins and getting too far forward, and that would be a classic to catch that horse out.
And she was always with that.
Tamie Smith, Baum, 5th after dressage on 25.3, the highest ranked overseas rider. We expected a lot from them, a combination that have enjoyed almost unparalleled success in North America, and then the number 4, unfortunately for them, not called into the US team in Tokyo last summer.
Yeah, lovely horse this. He's always shown great promise. This will be the biggest test for him coming here to Badminton. Tammie's a very experienced rider. I was very privileged. A couple of years ago I was working in California, and Tamie had a fall, so she let me jump this horse, and I was in 7th heaven.
I mean, they call him Lexus, but I think he might actually be more luxurious and classy even than that.
He's phenomenal. And again, Harry, we were going on earlier about Toledo de Cursor and how up in front he is and how light, and this horse is the same. And so the more important the dressage becomes as a competition, it helps the cross country, doesn't it?
It does, and often if you look at the best cross country horses, regardless of breeding or anything, you try and analyse what is it about them that makes them good. Being naturally uphill in the way they gallop makes your life so much easier. Otherwise you're constantly having to create suspension, if you think, sort of pumping air into the front tyres to bring them up, and wasting a lot of energy.
There's Annie Tierney, his wife Evie just running through the arch as well alongside him, as Tamara Smith and Baum are up at the top of the course. The Mars Sustainability Bay. Tamie a little bit down on her time as she answers that question and makes the getaway down to the Lemure.
Yeah, it's so important to start in the right rhythm, because if you're trying to catch up the whole way around, you've got a mountain to climb, whereas I always try and get to the 3rd minute marker on time, and then in a way you can forget about the time because you're in that cog, whereas if you're not on track there, the difference or the differential is going to become 3 times greater by 9 minutes.
That's great to hear that, Harry, but not everyone has the built-in clock that you have for rhythm, I have to say. That was a compliment in case you're interested.
But a lot of riders then, they would take the terrain of the course, they would say, you know, with the intensity, the number of obstacles per minute, that, you know, the first half is slow, the second half is fast, or vice versa as well. So it's not just the uniform progression for most mortals.
No, but I think also you're not placing your minute markers on every 570 meters. You're placing them and adjusting them relative to where the difficult bits of the course are.
So it turns out you're very, very clever.
No. I'm waiting to be really dug and pulled down.
Okay, I'm getting back to this horse. That was a really good riding there from Tamie Smith, because the horse is a really big jumper, and he just hung in there at the fence earlier, so she gave him a little tap and said come on, and he improved for it.
One of the most recent we saw was Lily Hurd here, who went much closer out to the string. Tamie takes an economic approach to the whole complex.
And wonderful to see how much air the horse gave that first. You know, a lot of the time when horses are that careful, they sometimes lack bravery.
I don't know if it was just a little bit of the insulating tape they might have just on the the breastplate as well, but I could see just some detritus hanging down off the girth underneath. Might have just been some brush from the early parts.
It may have been, but it looked to me as though it could do with the martingale, so maybe it broke, I don't know.
Tamie Smith and Baum again, just here very close to home. She wiggles through that gazebo to get the spot she wants up to that cottage. She's got only about 12 seconds left to get up the hill into the main ring. And alongside me is somebody who's already made that climb up the hill, world champion Ros Cantor. Ros, hello, good morning.
Hello.
Tell us, we have questions. Tell us about getting back underway after that hold.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I've ever been held on All-Star B before, so it was a new experience, but he was a professional as always. It felt like quite a long time, actually. There's hundreds of people down there, thousands, so they gave me a good old clap and a cheer as I got going, and he soon got back into his stride.
More than that, I mean, he looked like, a total second wind. I mean, I think you were still having to hold him at the latter part of the course.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I think he probably would have still felt like that if I hadn't have been held.